This is The Filter on iHeart Podcasts Canada.
Hey guys, welcome back to The Filter. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Jess.
And I just talked to Keith Urban.
Such a cool man.
Oh my goodness. He just has that energy. I get why he's so beloved in American music, Australian music, all over the world.
Yeah.
He really is just like a country music icon. So that was really cool to be able to talk to him and pick his brain about music.
Yeah, and you got to talk to him. We actually went to his show last night, which was super crazy because it was so small. It was intimate. It was at the Horseshoe Tavern in Toronto.
Yeah, which is such a small venue. I posted
Crazy.
stories of it last night, and people were responding to my story being like, sorry, what? How are you in such a small bar with Keith Urban performing? And he he explains in our interview why he chose to do some smaller shows and have some fun with that. He talked about coming to 8 Canadian cities on his upcoming tour. Also, just the time that he spent here in the country. We talked about his album High that came out a few months ago. While he's amping up for tour,
which feels like such a fun summer vibe. So I'm excited. I feel like it'll go so well with the tour, and it'll just be such a fun time.
Yeah, so fun. So if you want to learn more about Keith Urban in general, listen to this interview. Let's get into it. Do you know a lot of other Keiths?
I don't.
Yeah, right?
No.
It isn't really that common.
I know two.
If you think about
Okay.
Okay.
I think I know two. Three.
Three.
Yeah,
There you go.
you're the third.
New friends.
Yeah.
Keith Urban.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hi. And my godfather, we're talking about people I know called Keith, and the guy I was named after as well.
Oh, is that who you
So
were
I know,
named after?
I think I know 4 Keiths.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
talking about how many Keiths he knows. I think I know 4 Shannons.
There
which
you
is-
go.
Yeah. It's pretty
Beautiful
common.
name.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's named after Far and Away. How was the show last night? I was there last night. It was so intimate. It was such a cool space to see you perform, and it seemed like you were having just so much fun.
I had a great time. Yeah, I came from playing little clubs and where everyone's packed in and sort of, low ceiling and cramped. And this, for me, it's my favorite way to play.
Yeah, is that what made you want to do shows like that? Because there was people I was even talking to at the show that thought, they said, we thought this was a scam when we first heard about it, because how can you get to see someone like you in such a small space?
Yeah, well, it's for me, it's also just checking back in on the bones of what I do, in the sense of playing and singing. There's no production to hide behind, right? There's no video walls and fancy lighting or staging. There's nothing. There's just your ability to play songs and the audience right in front of you. Because I can't stand when I get that put the barriers up and everything, but I hate audiences being too far away. My favorite place for an audience to be is that when they can lean on the stage and put their arms. That's my favorite way to play.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that everywhere.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
What's the secret behind on stage banter? Because you are so good at interacting with the crowd. You brought people up on stage to sing with you. You're FaceTiming people's family members.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say is that secret? Because
Just
you
having
are so
fun.
good at it.
Just having fun with it and caring. I care about the audience. We're all there to have a great night. Me too. And so we're already got way more in common.
Yeah, and everyone there too, they just left on such a high. No pun intended.
Good.
So,
That's great.
Yeah. You came from snowy Nashville to snowy Canada.
Yeah.
When you spend time here, when you come to Canada, what memories of your time that you've spent here come back for you?
Well, I've toured here so much right from the beginning. And I think what I always think about with Canada is the very first time I ever played here. And it was a small club, I think, in Vancouver or somewhere. It was immediate, the audience, I could tell the audience got what I was doing. And it was my very first album, so I think American audiences were still getting used to who I am and what I did and what the music was, the fusion of it was. But I felt when I come to Canada, I was like, oh, they get it, immediately get it. So I've always had this very strong love and affinity with Canadians.
Yeah, I love that. And you're coming to 8 Canadian cities on your upcoming tour, which is incredible. Thank you for coming to so many.
Yeah.
Because I do think some artists, they'll pop into Toronto or another city but to come to 8 is great.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. I'm so glad that you're coming. What's the thought process going into your set list order for this tour?
Great question, Shannon. How do I get, 98 songs into a 2-hour set? Trying to just balance a mix of everything into the set list. And once we start hitting the road, it becomes more obvious of what to do and what not to do, you know. So we can rehearse till we're black and blue, but nothing is going to give me that real-time feedback like the first gig.
Yeah.
And then I'll just keep tweaking away.
So you'll tweak it. You won't like
Oh,
set
through
it
the
up?
whole tour.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
So go to the shows at the end of the tour just to get the best.
Yeah, it's always moving and changing. Yeah, always.
Yeah. How has it been living with the songs on the album High, since it's been a few months now since the album's come out?
This one's been really good.
Yeah.
I've had other albums that were different, for whatever. But this one just flowed. I actually scrapped an album completely when I was making this record because it wasn't flowing, and I'm glad that I did. It was not a nice experience to ditch an entire album and start again, but I knew there was a different group of songs that were going to flow better, and that's what this album became.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Is it true that Daytona you've been holding on to since like 2016?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah,
so why
yeah.
now?
Just fit this record. I mean, I felt, Stephen Lee Olsen, Canadian, is one of the two writers on that song, along with Nathan Barlow. And when they sent me the song, I loved it. And then I was making an album called Graffiti You, and it didn't really fit the feel of that record. And then I called them and said, sorry, didn't make it. And then I made Speeder Now, and it didn't quite fit that record. And I'm grateful that they let me hang on to the song, because I've always loved it.
Yeah. Does that mean there's other songs on hard drive somewhere that are just unreleased that maybe
always
down the line? Yeah.
Yeah, stuff floats around until it finds its home.
Nice.
Yeah.
How do you know when a song fits? Just if it flows well?
Yeah, I think if it just flows, because I always seem to have a lot of songs floating around that when I'm piecing an album together, it may not even be something that I've just recorded, but that song will come back to me, and I'm like, oh, this song would be great right there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a puzzle.
It is a bit of a puzzle.
That's so sweet. I loved hearing you cover different artists like Ed Sheeran. You did The Weeknd last night.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash. How do you go about this?
It's extreme, isn't it?
Yeah, such a range.
Yeah.
But I love it.
I love good songs.
Yeah.
Like Dancing in the Flames is a good song. It's really well written. I'd also worked up Pink Pony Club, which I didn't get to do last night. But it's another song that if it's written really good, I covered Ariana Grande's We Can't Be Friends because the bones are good. And if the bones of a song are good, you can do it in almost any style.
Yeah. How did you get introduced to Chappell
Roan? Somebody played me an advanced copy of her record from out in California, and her voice was what got me first. And then the song structure, the lyrics, she's unbelievable.
Yeah, she's so great.
She's hands down my favorite artist of 24.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You've said that Johnny Cash is the first concert that you ever went to.
Yeah.
What's the most recent concert that you've been to?
Oh. Billie Eilish.
Oh, yeah?
I think it was the last one we saw in Nashville.
Nice.
Yeah.
On this most recent tour?
Yeah.
Nice. I saw that too.
Yeah.
It's good, right?
Astounding production.
Yeah. I know that stage is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's just like jumping around, just a ball of energy.
Yeah, she was great. And the songs are great.
Yeah, totally. I've heard you also talk about in interviews why you keep on doing this, because people love to know like what keeps you going, and you say it's the music and it's the art. But what challenges do you still face in an industry where it seems like you've just conquered it?
Well, no, not conquered it. I don't feel that different to when I made my first record.
No?
Artistically speaking, like I'm interested in all the different things that I'm interested in, and then how to put them all together. Like I can't cook, but I always imagine the chef is doing the same thing. We've all got access to the same ingredients, but a particular chef blends those ingredients in a particular way that's unique to them, and then it works. And so I'm always trying to blend these musical things together.
Yeah. Is there any parts of the job that you still do find challenging that you like want to work on, or is it just blending it all?
Well, I want to work on all of it.
Yeah.
And I get to. Traveling's hard, but I actually don't even mind that because I've done it since I quit school when I was 15 and was playing 5 nights a week in a band at 15. So it's all I've ever done.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just second nature. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
That's wild. I feel like most people just
What's the hardest part of your job?
Probably just being creative. Like I
Right.
host a radio show and then I do interviews, so probably just coming up with creative questions.
Do you flip from one hat to the other, so to speak? Is that
so I
hard
just
to do?
in the studio.
Right.
Yeah, it's challenging, but I like it. But I like the challenge of it because
There
it
you
like
go.
keeps
That's
it
what
fresh.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
The song Straight Line is your next U.S. single.
Yeah.
What is it about that song that made you want to release it as a single and have it as the first track on the album?
It's the opening track on the record, and it's just it's a song about getting your life back, about taking charge of your life again. I think so many people in our own ways have so many responsibilities and obligations that we got to take care of, like this big massive checklist every single day after day after day, just to keep head above water. And at some point you're like, what happened to my life? It used to be a bit more fun, you know. I used to be more fun, and we used to be more fun, and what happened? And Straight Line sort of is the call to action, to take your life back into your hands again, even if it's just for 3 minutes.
You've talked about as well how country music is always evolving. What artists do you feel like are really evolving in country music right now that are like helping it push it to what it is now?
I think the mix of artists is what's most interesting right now. I mean, country's always been a really broad genre. It just hasn't had the platforms and outlets for all those different styles to find an audience, so you kind of had to fit through a narrow little thing. But country's always been huge. I mean, every kind of style of country music. So I think it's great now seeing so many artists representing so many different styles of country, and it's all country. I mean, I don't agree with people that say, oh, that thing isn't country, and I'm like, well, it isn't country to you. It's country to somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, nobody owns the genre.
Yeah, totally. Before we let you go, we wanted to give you a little gift. A little iHeartRadio water bottle.
Oh, come on.
There you go.
Thanks, Shannon.
Yeah, so next time
And it's full.
And it's full.
Come on, unless there's sand in there. This is great.
Nice. So just a
you.
parting gift from us to you.
Stay hydrated is what
Stay
you're saying.
hydrated while you're shredding it on stage like you do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure to chat with you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Filter, an iHeart Podcasts Canada production. Subscribe to The Filter wherever you get your podcasts.